How's it going, guys? Today I am taking you through the fastest way I learned to alternate pick. A couple of things I'd like to point out. Drop my pick. Just a couple of things I'd like to point out before I begin this lesson. This is not a departure from musicality and the feel before the purists attack. It's simply the licks I learned that helped me really refine my technique. And they really did help in many respects because I'm actually left-handed. I had to work really hard on this. So naturally, these should help you out. Some of them are really simple. Some of them are a lot more complex. This video is just a giant chop shop of licks that have really helped me develop my picking over time. Let's go. I'm going to get straight to the point. The fastest way I learned to sync up my hands and alternate pick the way I do is from learning Zakk Wylde licks, the 2-note per string stuff, No More Tears style. And the sole reason I'm starting with these is because I think it's the best practice there is. It's 2-note per string, and if your hands aren't in sync, the lick can't work. And also, because it's pentatonic, most people watching this will know the pentatonic, you can take whichever licks that come after and put them into your own key using the pentatonic scale as the main guide. I'm going to keep them all in the same key, so should you want to move them to E minor, for example, you can move them around to suit that. A couple of technique pointers as well. Use the point of the pick. I think that's fairly obvious. Pick really gently, and also I'm muting with my wrist in the same place I would be if I was riffing away. First lick that changed absolutely everything for me was a Zakk Wylde lick, and it goes like so. Really simple. That's 13-10, 13-10 on the high E, and then 13-10 on the B string, and plucked straight from No More Tears. I start with an upstroke there, but go with whatever feels comfortable to you. Most people start with a downstroke. Next thing you would do to make it fully No More Tears would be to add on the other pentatonic positions. You get the idea there. To make it more worthwhile, you can start to add more fingers, maybe change up the highest note in the lick. So we could add 15 and 12 on the high E there. You might get something like this. Once you get more comfortable with something like that, you can maybe graduate onto pentatonic sixes. I've talked about this before, but the basic rule of thumb is you come down the pentatonic scale 3 strings and then go back a string. Eric Johnson, Eat Your Heart Out. Then what you might do to change it up even more is go up in a group of 6. Really cool. Try those out. Now that you've nailed those pentatonic licks, now it's time to expand our minds and work on some 3-note per string stuff. And for what's coming up, we are going to be playing in a linear scale pattern, which is basically the same shape but moving up in octaves. Basically Paul Gilbert stuff. Really cool. And the first lick would be ascending sixes. I'm basically doubling up what I play on every string that's not an E string. Here we go. Shredder's bread and butter there. Really cool. And what's nice about that is that you're starting each new string with the same direction of stroke that you did the previous string. So in my case, upstrokes. The next lick is a little bit more advanced. It's the same scale, but there's a little bit more information to absorb here. Watch closely. Then play what I just did on the A string, but multiply it across the scale, and you get something like this. It's an Andy James lick, this. then maybe marry that up with Yngwie style ascending fours, you get a killer lick that you can end a solo with. Awesome, maybe a little bit faster now. Just want to take a quick break from the lesson to share a message from some very good friends of the channel, Mogami UK. Mogami make the best guitar cables on the planet, end of story. In a world where guitars are getting better, pedals are getting better, amps are getting better, everyone's tone in general is getting better, why would you compromise that with a really cheap, flimsy cable? If you buy a Mogami cable, in this case the Ultimate Guitar cable, you'll never have to worry about buying a single cable ever again. I can truly vouch for this because every note you've ever heard me play on this channel passed through this Mogami cable I bought 9 years ago. It's still here, it still works, it's braided, it's got the awesome silent connectors so when you unplug you don't get this sound. Absolutely brilliant. They're manufactured in Japan and hand-wired in the UK. They're absolutely superb. Mogami sent a couple of premium ones and another ultimate one. I've got literally 4 lifetimes worth of cables now. Definitely check them out. It'll be a friend to you for life. Mogami cables. Getting weird now, and I'm going to stay within the linear scale shape, but I'm going to massively change up the order of things. This first one is kind of Avenged Sevenfold-ish, but it's basically going up the scale, but in a descending fashion. Watch again. Kind of fun there, I think you might like that. Really fun when it comes to changing stuff up. The other one is very similar, but even weirder at the same time. You'd start a whole string ahead and then come back down one, so it would go like so. Jump up to the next octave, D string, into the next octave. Up again, into the next octave. Nearly done now. Again, very Paul Gilbert in nature, that one, but I think you might have some fun with that. I absolutely love that. Back to a more conventional scale shape. This time we're in what looks like the C major scale shape, but it shares notes that belong to D minor as well. So it may be a C major scale, but think of it as D minor. Keep wearing the D minor hat. And what we're going to do instead here is we're going to start on the root, which is D, and then go back down a note in the scale and follow that pattern all the way through. This particular lick is seen very commonly among fusion players. I've seen Frank Gambale use something like this. Gets a bit hairy there on the end. You've got to flatten that finger. Really cool lick that, and if you ever need to find a home for it, remember where we are. It looks like D minor pentatonic. If you're paying close attention, you can maybe throw in something we've covered so far. That kind of Yngwie idea that we mentioned a couple of licks ago. This next one's a Guthrie Govan lick, and it goes like this. Wild. I nicked that from the Ancestral solo, as that's a song he did with Steven Wilson, and I've moved it down to D minor. And the first part isn't that inspiring in terms of picking, but I'm going to set you up for what's coming. So that's your first phrase there. And then the weird pattern comes afterwards, and it's basically taking a pentatonic scale, but instead of going up to the minor third, you're throwing in a ninth instead. And if you were to watch the lick from above, it's like you're taking 2 notes from the right of the scale, then flattening the index finger to take 2 notes from the left. Let me play it for you so it becomes clear. If you were to go all the way down, but this is Guthrie Govan, remember, it changes direction in a really awkward place to make it uber difficult. But what you've got here is the first part. You stop there on the 10th fret of the B string, so. Then you've got to basically teleport that index finger to the 9th fret of the G string, and you're doing the same thing, but it's like you're doing the same pattern but in the C major scale. It goes from 2 notes per string to 3 notes per string midway through the lick, which is a bit awkward, but you can do it, I promise. Then he ends on a chromatic phrase. Really love that. There, that's A string, 10, 9, 8. That's really, really cool. If you wanted to play it like Ancestral, you'd move it up to G sharp minor. This is one of the most helpful sequences you'll ever learn for alternate picking, and it's groups of 4 but in a 3 note per string format. I'm picking an easy fingering just for the sake of the lesson. I'm going 13, 12 and 10 on the high E and the same on the B string. And the pattern goes like so. Watch closely. Once you get to the 10th fret there on the B string, it's then time to climb back up to the top of the pattern there and repeat. You get the idea there. All you would do is change up the position and you can create something pretty devastating, actually. Really cool. Reminds me of Gus G a lot, that. To close the lesson, we're going back to where we started, which is Zakk Wylde, but a slightly more complicated version of it. And this time it's going to be 3 notes per string on the high E, and then 2 notes per string on the B string. Watch closely. That's your pattern there. 12, 13, 10 on the high E. Then 13 and 10 on the B string. And then you would repeat. Can have a lot of fun with that one, and all you would do is change up the position. So if you want to sound really freaky, there I've got on the high E and B string 17, 15 and 13. Really, really fun. Try those out. Just a little practice tip before I close this video. Some of you are going to say, isn't it best to use a metronome to get up to speed and all that stuff? If it works for you, go for it. In my case, I didn't do that. I learned the lick, got the sequence down in my head, played it endlessly on my own, and constantly built up the tempo and tried to get more comfortable with it based on how well I knew it, and then funneled it into the song I first learned it from. There are loads of different ways to get up to speed. If a metronome works for you, go for it. I'm just telling you that's not what I did, and it worked really well for me. Thanks a lot for watching this video. I really hope you've liked what you've seen. If you feel you've learned something, please make sure you hit like and subscribe. I'm uploading tutorials all the time, and hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. Once again, thank you very much, Megami, for sending those cables over. Please make sure you check those out. I'll see you again in the next tutorial. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.